Ooh, what ho chaps, I'm Magical Mike. This is the Ascalonian Catacombs Explorable mode. I'm playing a warrior. You can follow me on Twitter at wherever I put the address. And I'm just gonna kind of run you through this explorable mode path. So yeah, this is me with a warrior. I'm going with a rifle. Right now we're killing the first Graveling breeder at the start. I'm level 47. On my other weapon set,
Colossus Rumblus will collapse the catacombs. That's the real risk.
I have a double sword setup, as you can see right here. And for this path, we're going to go with the Asura, who's called Tzark? Question mark? I don't remember. I know it just was on screen, but I didn't look at it. So this is a fairly edited run. I'm not going to show you the whole thing because it's a long one. It took us about maybe an hour and a half to do this. This was our first time through this particular route, and yeah, I couldn't tell you what my trait setup is right now because I've changed it since then, and I don't really know, but it is mostly focused on bleeding as much as possible, which I'll get into later on. Yes, the Asura is called Tzark, or Tzark, or whatever you call him. It's an Asura. So our team setup is slowly dying in this room, in this spider room. Got to take out the things on the walls. This isn't going to be much of a guide really, this is just, I don't know, just talking about the footage I guess. Our team setup is, I'm a warrior, we have 2 guardians, we have Adric, we have Erebus as our pro guardians in the guild. We have 2 elementalists, we've got Wooden as one of them, the Asura, and we've got Rob with his human Ellie, and we're now killing the Queen Spider. I couldn't tell you what our setup is right now, because honestly we all just took stuff in, and we're just sort of seeing if we can get through the dungeon explorable mode in good time. Oh yeah guys, be sure to try and res people on their feet. That's a nice thing. I will say that it does get very annoying if you go down and nobody reses you. I understand if your squishy classes don't want to get into melee range to res you up, but you know, if I take the time to res 4 guys after a devourer just sieges them, and then I get downed and all 4 of them run away, that's not exactly a great thank you, is it? But on a lighter note, we had a lot of fun with this run through. This Queen Spider was annoying as all hell. If you actually stand behind her, she doesn't really spit a whole load of poison at you, and you can survive longer in melee, which is good. And then after that, they spawn a bunch of Gravelings at you. I hate the Gravelings. After doing this dungeon 4 times now? 4 times. 1 of each path and the story mode. I now officially absolutely despise the Gravelings. And, not really related, but we've killed that many of them that I have the Ghost Buster achievement absolutely maxed right now, which I find completely ridiculous, but fairly funny all the same. Now I mentioned I'm a warrior with a condition set up. See, we've got 21 bleeds on this guy right now. It hangs about 20 and I can reliably get about 17 myself. And conditions are very, very good in this kind of setup. They're really good whenever you're fighting any kind of monsters, bosses, anything like that. Conditions kick ass. But you'll see a lot of the times in this dungeon you actually have to take out structures and traps and gargoyle heads and burrows and just scenery and things like that, and conditions do absolutely nothing to them. They're not even affected by conditions. So I struggled quite a lot in those particular situations. Now this is a cave troll, which is one of those random spawn event dynamic thingamies. I don't know what the hell to call it when you're inside of a dungeon, but they just spawn randomly, and he knocks you about a bit, so be careful not to get knocked off the edge, because you're going to have an annoying run to get back up here, so just, you know, stay in line, be safe. You can actually jump over his stomp if you're careful, if you're out of dodges or whatever, but try not to get hit and you'll be fine. The next one, however, the next actual boss, and the first guy that'll drop any chests for you, is Lieutenant Kohler, who is stood over there destroying Erebus right now, which is fine for us because we're trying to take out these elementalists. He's taking one for the team, basically. So Lieutenant Kohler's a big pain in the bum. I'm not going to tell you how to do him because we have a video coming up later which will guide you through this fight a lot better than I could on my own. But just know that this boss was a hell of a lot of fun, and if you're worried about going toe to toe with him in melee, you should be, although you can if you're a heavy armor class like me or one of the Guardians here. I personally prefer to use my rifle on all of the bosses here just because it was safer, and it was just a better idea to keep me up rather than doing a lot of damage in melee and potentially getting downed. So the next event in the dungeon in this path is this defensive thing, where Tzark will need to collect ghostly essence, and he collects it from two sides of the room here, and for a time you have to defend these things, and the Gravelings will pop up in these burrows, and you can see here I'm doing barely any damage to this thing because I'm spec'd for conditions. Also miss, I'll talk about that later. You have to defend them, these burrows pop up, just kill them fast and efficiently and keep your entire team on them. If Gravelings do get to the defensive things, then just try and kill them off as fast as possible. The hatchlings don't really pose much of a problem, they sometimes don't even attack, which is good. But focus on the burrows. If any breeders pop out, kill the breeders as fast as possible. Elementalists are really good for this, but don't think that elementalists are your only option, because as long as you can pump out loads of damage, if your power is really high, you can do that job just fine. Don't worry if one of the things goes down either, because you can just defend one of them. And if you manage to kill the burrows good enough, and quickly enough and efficiently, then nothing spawns, and you can just sit about and wait, and go and loot all your drops and things. It's good. So we get that. We turn into ghosts. Whoop-de-doo. Story mode stuff. Well, not really story mode stuff, but there is some story there. Let's go and pop the chest. Go on, Mike, pop the chest. There we go! A major Ring of the Monk. It's a nice drop, actually. I quite like that. If I was a Guardian, I'd be using that. And then there's some more defending Graveling burrows. This dungeon was a hell of a lot of fun, by the way. We absolutely love this thing. And I will say one thing about the Graveling burrows. I'm spec'd for conditions, and as I said earlier, I do barely any damage to these things. I'm hitting for like 100 or 200. I should be hitting way higher than that. But there's a huge problem being a melee class when you have to defeat these things. You see me here moving left to right. That's because if you just stand still on top of it, if you're on top of it, you have a good chance that you're actually going to be able to attack it and hit it reliably. But it's kind of weird in that sometimes you'll just miss, and there'll be no good reason for you to be missing it. But if you strafe left and right, if you just tap A and D or your strafe keys over and over again, then you can reliably actually do a lot of damage to them, and that's good. Now you see me right there, you see all those numbers coming off those things? Those are the huge stacks of bleeding that I got on those balled up enemies over there. That's why I love the bleeding spec, but I have changed it now to try out greatswords for a bit. I mean, I literally got to level 50 only using swords and a rifle, and I've had to swap that up because it's not boring by all means, but I just felt like conditions aren't the way to go in PvE. Not really for a warrior anyway. I prefer the greatsword for now. So here's the last boss. He's got a few mechanics to him. He tunnels underground and evades you, he leaps on you, and he'll scream at you, I think, which pretty much one-hits you. Gotta save your dodges for that. And he'll do this, where he just sort of stands still for a bit, and he brings the roof down on you. Just gotta look out for the red circles and try and avoid those as best as you can. And the rest of it's fairly simple, just DPS him down. You see we've got 22, 21, 16 stacks of bleeding on him. We've got a reliable set of bleeds in this group, and it's good. It means the conditions just keep flowing out. Try not to die like an idiot like me, but if you do, then try and res your team up as fast as possible. The more bodies you have on the field, the better you're going to do, because he's going to at least be focused on somebody. Also, when he's bringing the roof down, he's going to sit there and not move, so you've got a good chance to actually res people up. Like I said, keep resing people up. Keep at it. It's a long fight. It's going to be long, but it's a lot easier than the rest of the dungeon, I think, which is a welcome relief, if you ask me. Keep fighting him. Keep going. Eventually, if you persevere, you're going to take him down. you're going to get that sweet, sweet chest drop, and you're going to get your huge amount of experience for doing it. Let's see how much XP I get for this. When the reward thing pops up, just glitch out a bit, have a cutscene.
Considering I had no firm idea what would happen.
There we go, 15,820 XP. See my bar go up, boom! That's almost half a bar there. It's probably about a third. That's really, really good XP. So that's it, that's the dungeon. It's a hell of a lot of fun. Absolutely loved it. Haven't done any more of these dungeons yet, but we plan to do Cordicus's Manor sometime soon on as a guild. And yeah, we had a lot of fun with this as a guild, and that's it. So not much more to say. In fact, nothing more to say. I enjoy this a lot, and I thought I'd share our own with you. And we're going to be coming out with a video that will explain it in much more detail fairly soon. So I'll see you guys next time.